Hey there, Spider-Man fans, this is Wesatron. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Amazing Spider-Man Walmart exclusive Spider-Man action figure. This is the first release of the figure and is his standard release that does not come with the spare Andrew Garfield, Peter Parker head, or skateboard, I think is the other thing that it comes with. But what you can see through the box, the figure has one issue with the packaging, and that's that if you can see down in there, his elbows get twisted up really easily. You can see it on this one a little bit too. I may have to do a little bit of repair work there to get those back into the right shape. But it's not a total loss. I mean, pretty much everyone I saw on the shelves did look like that, so you may have to do some work to get yours usable, but you know, it's part of it, I guess. Here's the bio if anyone wants to read that. Pretty simple. This one seems a little bit more kid-oriented than some of the other 6-inch figures we've seen from Hasbro, but it still looks like a great figure. I'm excited to have it. I paid $14.99, I think, at Walmart. So let's get them open and see what we got. Okay, and we're back really quick out of packaging. I just wanted to show you guys. The only joint it looks like I'm really going to have an issue with is his left elbow. As you can see, this arm should be going as close to straight down as it can go, but the elbow joint is twisted, so it kind of shoots out this way. So I am going to try and fix that with some boiling water real quick, and we'll get back. I just wanted to give you guys a heads up to watch out for that in packaging. If you can snag one that's not bent there, do your best, because if you're not willing to do any mods on your figure, it is going to be a huge problem, as you can see. So, yep, be right back. And here we have Spider-Man out of packaging after attempting to fix his arm. And as you can see, this guy has got some great posability to him. Very cool. His posability is actually only, surprisingly, slightly better than the 4-inch figure that Hasbro did in the kid line. And in some ways, not even as good. But we'll get to that in a second. So stood up straight. You can see his arm is fixed. It fixed without any problems, so that's good. No trouble, no bent or torn joints or anything like that, so that's always a plus. I don't want my action figures broken when I pull them out of the box. You see the guy looks pretty good. Let me pull this off my tripod for a second. There we go. As you can see, they decided to go with the indented lines on the costume as opposed to the, I guess, 3-dimensional lines on the Marvel Select version. You can see they did the scales on the costume, very nice. Paint job pretty decent overall. The biggest problem I saw in stores, see they got the silver on the boots. Biggest problem I saw in stores was probably the eyes. A lot of them had gold on, kind of just flecked around the head a little bit, and there's like some dirtiness to it. I guess where they were trying to do a wash to get some black down into the grooves of the costume. Didn't necessarily work out. But as you can see, the spider emblem on the back and on the front both look really great. He did a great job with that. There's not a whole lot of paint really on the guy. I mean, they did the embellishments on the side. They did not do them on the hip joints, which is a bit of a bummer. But, you know, this isn't Marvel Select, I guess. But yeah, so that's pretty much it for that. His head is a little big. It's not that bad, really, once you get him out of it. It looks worse in package. I guess it's just he looks a little bit too young almost. A little bit too much like a boy. But that may just be the effect of actually having ears and hair inside of a mask, whereas, you know, when you draw a comic book, you just kind of, I guess, pretend everybody's bald and has a perfectly shaped head, whereas Andrew Garfield's might be a little different. I do like the bulbous nature of the head on the back here. It looks really good. But yeah, so that's it for looks. Let's talk about some articulation here. Now, the articulation, if you remember from the Marvel Select figure, was outstanding. Very good. They did a lot of fun things with it. They did a great job overall. One problem that I did have with the Marvel Select one is that his neck joint could be a little better. Unfortunately, that also stretches to this figure. He's definitely got his left to right, you know, all the way around and all that stuff. but they didn't cut enough out of the back of the plastic on his head, so his up and down is very bad. Looking straight out, he almost gets no up and only so much down. So not too bad on down, but like if you can see, you turn to the side, you can see the joint is functional. I mean, it's a well done joint. It's just that they didn't cut enough of the plastic out to make it useful. So that's a bit of a bummer. Ball jointed abdomen, and you can see he's got a pretty good crunch in there. Let me get him straight up here so you can see. Back pretty far, forward pretty far, pretty good. He's got rotation there. I don't know if it's going to go, might go all the way around, but I'm not going to really test that. Some side-to-side action, which is nice. Very similar to the Marvel Select in that respect. Swivel hinge shoulders, of course, go all the way around, go out to about there, and then swivel around. And of course, you know, you can always kind of fudge that. If you need his arms to go higher up, you just do it that way, which leaves this pattern on the bottom, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do when you're a toy collector, when you're a total dork. Swivel biceps here, double hinged elbows with a great range. They are a little stiff on the low side, but they're starting to loosen up a little bit, so that's good. So they got a great range there. That could probably even go a little tighter if I mess with it a little bit. But do be careful when you're messing with this, because I have noticed I'm getting a little bit of some white stress marks in there. May not be super easy to see because of the reflection on the plastic, but that joint is getting stressed a little bit just because it is very tight. We got swivel hinge on the wrists, and the left wrist goes in and out like that, which is cool because, you know, you can do your classic Spidey thwip pose. Oh, and they did actually do the web slinger, or the web shooters there. Unfortunately, since it doesn't swivel up here, if you swivel his arm like this, the web shooter's on the side of his hand, which is kind of weird. Back to articulation. Swivel on this hand, except it goes in and out this way. Like, I guess forward and back, as opposed to in and out would be a better way to say it. Which is strange, but okay, whatever. He's got the new style hip joints that Hasbro is, I guess they're old style, but Hasbro's going back to them, so that's good. They don't go up as far as I would like. They only go up to about there, not even straight out, which is a bit of a bummer because, I mean, if you just cut a little bit more plastic out here, you'd totally have a great joint there, but, you know, for the sake of looks, it's kind of screwed, so that's too bad. I really would like to see him get a little bit deeper in his crouches. Legs go out to about there, so that's nice. You know, you get a nice spread there. Looks like his right leg maybe doesn't go quite as far as his left, but still pretty good. Swivels on the lower part of the ball there. Double hinge knees, great range of motion there. Unfortunately, no swivel in the boot top like the Marvel Select. So whenever you are trying to position his feet right, you will have to actually kind of turn the whole leg to get there. And I can explain that a little bit better in a second. Hinge goes way far back, very nice. Not as much forward, but pretty good. I would bet that the Marvel Select probably does a little bit better because they cut the joint a bit higher, whereas in this one you can see the joint stops right above the ankle ball. If I can get that to focus. So it's not going to go as far forward, but it does have that great, you know, swivel side to side that they're doing now. Now what I was talking about with that joint is when you get it out here and you start to position it, when you want that foot to go flat, when you turn it, as you can see, it's not going to want to lay just right. If you had a swivel here, you could kind of swivel that down into position, but since that's not there, you're going to actually have to kind of bend the knee, twist the leg to get that to lay just right so that it'll stay flat, and it kind of looks a little strange. It's not perfect by any means, which is too bad. I mean, they are starting to kind of fix that across the board on their 6-inch toys, but it's not completely implemented yet. I do hope that they get more into that in the future because that is a great joint. Let's get this guy in here. You see the Marvel Select next to the Marvel. I want to call him Marvel Legends. I guess he's not. The movie series, classic series. I don't know what you want to call him. But as you can see, of course, there's a huge height difference because 6-inch scale, 7-inch scale. Different colors. A much deeper red here, much brighter red here, brighter blue, deeper blue. So that's interesting. This is probably closer to the blue that was in the movie. This was much lighter but I also think looks really good. But you can also see a difference in the build. Whereas Marvel Select Spider-Man, I think now that I've got this guy next to him, I think kind of looks much more like an adult, or at least a very athletic teenager. Whereas this Spider-Man is much more of like maybe a, I don't know, not necessarily a runner's build or a gymnast build, kind of just a skinny nerd build. He's not nearly as muscular as this guy. You can see he's got like huge shoulders and stuff, which looks really cool. And they did a great job with him, but now that I do have him next to him, I do think that this looks possibly a little bit too manly. Which you'd never think you would have a problem with that with an action figure. How can something be too manly? Well, if it's a woman, that's one reason right there. So, see? Showed you. So, basically that's the figure himself. We do get another stand with him. This is the same clip stand that we got with the Avengers and the new Marvel Legends series, which we've reviewed. Or at least some of which we've reviewed. We also get these webbings. You get a bunch of these things. What is it? You get 3 of them, I think? Yeah, 3. And it looks like they're pretty much the same mold on all 3, yeah. But you can just get a ton of them. So they've got this little loop on the end, so you can kind of wrap it around his hand and, you know, get him to hold it and maybe dangle from a light or something like that, you know. Or we got our other Spider-Man, or as we like to call him now, Doppelganger Spider-Man. You can wrap it around, and then there's this little hook on the end. Maybe hook in on itself, like so. Create kind of like a lasso. Ho ho! You've been caught by Spider-Man. Or whatever, however you play with your toys. Not that I actually ever do that, ever. No, please don't tell my wife. So, that's pretty much it. He comes with 3 of them. They are kind of linkable. So you can do a lot of things with them, which is really cool. I like just having a little bit of opposing options that'll kind of open it up to maybe having, you know, one on one hand, one on the other, and swinging from your ceiling or attack or something. You know, that's pretty cool. So overall, figure's good. $15 is about what the going rate is, so I guess it's fair. He's a little slender in strange ways, or his head is a little bulbous. I don't know. It's just the anatomy is a little strange to me. And I do think it's just because we're not used to seeing a real skinny guy in a real suit like this. So that could be all it is. But would like to see a little bit better motion on the legs there, a little bit better, and the ankles would be better. I would have loved to have a swivel here in the calf. That would have been great. But overall, I would say this figure is definitely a get. If you're not absolutely keen on getting him right now, I highly recommend you wait for the second version that's going to be released, because it does come with the Andrew Garfield head and the skateboard, and I think maybe even a backpack. I don't know if it comes with the webbing, but it comes with those other things. So, I mean, if you want more accessories, definitely want a little more bang for your buck, then you certainly have the option there. So these are dropping in Walmart stores right now for about $15, along with Wizard and Ultimate Miles Morales Spider-Man. So if you get the opportunity, pick them up. If you want to wait, do that too. I do think he's a solid figure, especially if you're into 6-inch scale. So, yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you later. Have a great one.